So, totally get the fact that you need some coffee, and we just talked about how much of a champ you are, but your camera angle also has moved a bit, and we can see just into your kitchen enough to see you open the milk, and then you started fucking cleaning the kitchen up. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that can wait.
We're on a schedule here. This is our time, too.
Do the housework, like, for Christ's sake.
Wondering lately, oh baby, tell me where have you been? Now the stage is set, where's my Juliet, baby?
Welcome to Atlas Balked, a weekly chronicle concerning the mundane, weird, and maybe even sometimes dramatic happenings of a simple fantasy baseball league. This podcast captures the thoughts and musings of Greg, Joe, Jack, and Tim, 4 of the 10 owners in the league. Download this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podcoin, or wherever you get your podcast content that makes you want to tunnel under the Vegas Strip. You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter machine. This is episode 71 entitled, Where the Heck is GK? Good morning, Bacher Nation. We're so happy to be here with you, and I know that there are at least a couple of people on this podcast that really care enough about you to spend some time putting out this episode. Good morning, Swag. Congratulations, champ, I should say.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a good night last night.
Fantastic night last night. What are you talking? You're so humble. A lot of you may know or have picked up over this season that Swag used to be in professional sports, actually got out, got some work-life balance back in place, and now just does contract work for a professional football team in the Arena Football League. And I think everybody knows that you're in Northeast Florida, Jacksonville.
I am.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. I think did you put up the picture of you at the furry convention / promo with all the mascots? Was that on our Facebook or?
I think that was a text string.
Oh,
we refer to it as the mascot games, first of all. And
yeah.
No, I haven't, but now I guess I will. Yes, I will. I'll make sure that gets up.
We'll have to black your eyes out so that no one will actually really know who Swag actually is. But, so you had, essentially the Super Bowl.
Very exciting. Long night, but well worth it. And still here to do my job.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there wasn't a lot of opportunity to celebrate.
There was a little celebrating. Yes, there's.
Yeah.
I think I still have some dried champagne on my glasses, I believe. Yes.
I mean, the season's over. Don't you just finish all the beer out of the taps before anybody gets to go home?
That's a good idea. We might get that in the contract.
I like that. So, J-Lo, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. How you doing?
Doing well. It seems like you've changed the angle of your camera a bit.
The angle of the dangle?
No, that's not where I was going, but... Yes, it looks it's a more flattering kind of direction.
I look more slender when the camera's higher.
You do, yeah. It's you've got the sunlight coming in on your right side, my left, and then you've got the kind of up to the right, up to my right, where it's coming down. And
yeah, I changed the angle of the sun just for you, Tim. Really, I just wanted to get the camera lower because if you see back here, I didn't want Greg to see all the alcohol bottles there.
Yeah, well, Greg won't be seeing anything
inside of his eyelids.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I think everybody who heard this and listened to our podcast last week and heard Greg say, "I'm going to Vegas."
Yeah.
I think everybody knew there's no possible chance that he will actually appear on the show.
Right.
And, I did too. And I just thought, well, he's not going to quite ghost us, but I'm sure we'll get that, that late text that says, oh, I'm not able to make it. But now I'm a little concerned. And, I think even when he's drunk, he's pretty still with it. And we did get pictures from Vegas. He was in Vegas. There was a lot of pictures of drinks and what he's eating for breakfast. And I think one where he's wearing a suit jacket or something. Typical GK stuff, right?
Balcony shots? No.
I was looking for the balcony shot. I was really surprised that he didn't. I don't know. And that led me to think that maybe something not too good has befallen our beloved GK.
Uh-oh.
Well, he sent us something in a text, and I'm wondering if there's actually a code underneath this. Just before I woke up, I get a text from GK and said, I hate to do this, guys, but I'm way too sleep depressed. Depressed. D-R-E-P-I.
Yeah.
Depressed.
I'm a little depressed myself.
Yes. But you're here. But I'm way too sleep depressed and hungover to talk. I'll be lucky if my noon flight. And oh my gosh, Shakespeare.
Right.
I'm wondering, what's he trying to say? Is he trying to say something? Does he need help?
I think sleep depressed makes it sound like the hotel room costs too much and he's out of money or something.
Oh,
that would be possible.
Depriced. Yeah, he did. It was the idea of sleeping at a hotel is too much for him, so he was depriced. I'll buy that. So he's on the streets in Vegas,
drunk. On the streets of Vegas.
Yeah, the Shakespeare line really threw me off. The my noon flight.
right. Oh, my noon flight. Can we say that in Shakespearean English somehow?
And what?
I think you just did.
Vegas time. This was what, 5:30 this morning?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
6:30. It was 6:30.
Okay, 6:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I normally wake up for this podcast, I'll say, no
right,
matter
right.
what happened on Saturday night.
Right, and that sounded
For
like
me.
a at best going to bed text, right? Like,
yeah,
you would think at 6, if he had to get his noon flight, he could make it in 6 hours to an airport. So it sounded like he was. I know when I'm sleep deprived, I wanna take a nap myself. So
I mean, if he goes to sleep in the gutter, he might end up in jail. We don't want that to happen.
Actually, they have a fascinating tunnel system in Vegas. Did you know this?
I did not. Is there any chance that code is referring to the tunnel?
I don't know. I mean, that we took. There are a couple of logical leaps that we took to get there, but maybe. But yeah, there's this. They built this tunnel system under Vegas essentially for water drainage, right? So Vegas sits in the middle of the desert, and if it gets torrential rains, there's nowhere for the water to go. So they built this huge tunnel system underneath Vegas, and it's like a haven for homeless people. People who do not have a place to go actually live in the tunnels underneath Vegas. First of all, what type of critters are down there, right? First, I mean, I'm not a big fan of snakes and scorpions and, I don't know. Number two, you better not be there during rain season, that whatever that week is in Vegas, because that'd be crazy.
yeah.
But then I started to think about, wow, that's some kind of like dystopian novels. Like what the hell goes on underneath?
Right.
Vegas?
That's right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. My brain was already taking me to all kinds of wicked stories. That's interesting. I there's probably, right? I mean, there's got to be quite a few homeless people in Vegas, right? I mean,
maybe he went out to the back alley behind the casino to take a piss, and one of the homeless people grabbed him and pulled him into the tunnel. And since they're not good with cell phone technology, perhaps somebody was just. Maybe that's why all the misspellings and crazy sentences.
Yeah. I mean, he sent us drunk text before, and spelling has been fine. So
somebody else has his phone.
I'm going to go with that it was intentional to sell the fact that he was not capable of doing the podcast. That he actually.
That's kind of what I think too.
When you used to call in, you were sick, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling good today. I still feel." You would alter the situation to make it more believable.
I'm really sick this morning, boss.
Yeah, you want to get off a phone call, right? You're like,
Yeah, exactly. Same
Can't hear
premise.
you.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. He's not here. It's not that he didn't want to do it. It's that he respects the podcast so much that he didn't want to, dilute it with the state of mind that he had unfortunately found himself in, probably accidentally.
Yeah, we know that's bullshit. That good fiction there. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, that would mean you'd have to care about us and anybody in Balked Nation. So
maybe you could put the punctuation in a different place. I'm on my way to sleep. Maybe he just forgot to put the on. And his friends, Dre Peist and Hong Over, are going to talk for him. No?
That's
possible. Oh, well, okay, so Swag, that would make you Dre Peist, right? Because, Dr. Dre, right? Maybe, he's in Vegas.
I'll go with that.
And Joe, you'll be Hong.
I'll be Hong Over. It's my Korean alter ego.
Okay. All right, so on to the scores. So Dre Peist, looks like your team decided to go bonkers. Oh my gosh. Exploded for some points. And right now you are, yes, folks, you are crushing the Crispy Chickens. I was looking at your team on Tuesday, and it looked like a weekly score for many teams. You've got to be feeling good right now. In fact, you've got to be feeling so good at this point. You're like, oh gosh, did I give up too many points? You might be at that point, right, where you're so sure of a win that you're like, I just want to win by just enough to not waste any additional points.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, not quite to that point, I would say. Again, Scotty is a very good team. I mean, I am as far as score goes, but I didn't score a lot of points yesterday, and quite honestly, the Dreamers are not far behind me all of a sudden. They're
Well, but you're not playing the Dreamers this week.
No, but I am watching, obviously, and comparing. So
remember, he expects to be playing the Dreamers.
Yeah. So great week. I'm obviously excited. I get out to a very commanding lead early. That said, I did look ahead to next week, and I have quite a few guys playing 5 games, and he has quite a few playing 7. So regardless, looks like I'm gonna be up 1-0, but next week's a whole nother battle. So we'll see. It's again, he's got a respectful score. I've scored a lot of points this week. The Phillies, Bryce Harper.
Congratulations, Dre Peist. I think that's really good. I agree with you. Respectable score. We'll see what happens next week. My sense is you're just going to walk in and make it happen. And yes, Bryce Harper, your best offensive player. Good call.
It's been a good week. I've been happy.
Yeah, I love that Harper has set the bar so low that he has one good week out of 10, and now he's fucking awesome. About time, you 300 million piece of shit.
Wow.
It's the dramatic situation. It's the moment. Yeah, that right. Was it was a hell of a moment. Whether you like it or not, you have to admit it was a fucking cool moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all fluff, right? I'll take the steady Eddie guy all the time instead of the one fixing his hair before home run derbies and shit like that. Anyway, on to
Tim, you just got to let this go at some point. He's not on your team anymore.
When the season's over, I'm going to enforce that he's referred to as the most decorated player in Juiceless history.
Just because he wears earrings doesn't make him decorated.
Nah, he's all right. Okay,
I would have taken him for sure.
The other playoff game going on right now, we have the Dreamers and Lethal Injection. Looks like the Dreamers are going to pull this off this week, and they're doing it with an Astros week that is pretty poor. And so, their pitching staff has carried them all throughout the year, yet they're still ahead with one of the worst scores of the year for the Astros. I don't know. I mean, Dre, Hong, what do you think? Is this,
I think that's scary for Mikey if they're putting up points without their pitching this week.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 7-point differential between the two pitching staffs.
So Mikey, we talked about, had those, big weeks coming in. Again, he was upset, and Tim brought it up earlier about my score. He was upset the last week of the season that he, broke the record for the season in scoring. That's not really what you want going into the play. You want to be hot, but so yeah, it looks like his team did blow their load a little bit. On the other side,
wait, is that a technical term?
I think so.
What exactly do you mean by blow their load?
I got it from John Kruk. Like when a submarine is underwater and they need to come up real quick, they like release a bunch of air, right? That's what.
Oh,
it means.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So there you have it, folks. We Dreamers look like they're cruising to a win. Dre and his Philadelphia experiment are certainly going to win this week. So let's come back in a few minutes, and I do want to talk about some interesting history that I picked up associated with cricket for all of our fans of cricket out there, and then an injury to one of the young stars in the league. I'd like to break that down a little bit. We'll see you in a moment.
When they blew the horns and the walls came down, they'd all won and the walls came down. They stood there laughing. They're not laughing anymore. The walls came down.
Welcome back, bots. We're happy to have you back. If you're still with us, then obviously you have some serious problems, and you should probably get that checked out.
Some
But you're
extra
here,
time.
and yeah. So since you're here, before you get those problems checked out, you guys have been hearing a lot about the Cubs and the beer snakes, right, and Ligma and all that.
I don't know how I missed all this before. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So there's this. It's part of it's just a stunt by Barstool Sports and Swag. You know about this, right?
No,
So this is basically, there's this big thing going on right now. You know what a beer snake is?
no.
So at sporting events and specifically baseball stadiums now, there's these things called beer snakes, where basically people take their beer cups and they stack them together and they create these thousands of cups long beer snakes, and then they try to swing them around and have people drink out of them. And there's been this big kind of controversy blown up about the Cubs banning beer snakes. Then, Barstool Sports actually had interviewed one of the ushers who actually had his, face blacked out and his voice changed and place. And I was like, beer snakes? Like, I thought I've heard about beer snakes before. So I went and did some research, and come to find out, the first known sighting of a beer snake actually occurred in January of 2001 in the Sydney, Australia cricket grounds in north-southwest Australia.
It all comes back to cricket.
It all comes back to cricket. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, God damn it, So this whole big phenomenon. They're making, the Cubs are trying to outlaw them, and which is crazy because each beer snake is probably worth about $8,000. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, at the expense of a beer, the Cubs probably should be like, yeah, make ton of them. Come on, make more. The longest one that has ever been cited, it's believed to have been, so first of all, right, that this sounds legendary in its own right? It's believed to have been.
Yeah.
Here's the direct sentence from Wikipedia. Although the beer snake was not accurately measured, it is believed to have been between, get this, 100 and 175 meters long.
Well, that's quite a range.
Right? Yeah, but then I thought, if you're going to measure something, and this something is called a beer snake and is made up out of spent beer cups, right, at a sporting event, if it was any more specific, I'd be highly suspicious,
It's a good point.
Right? I mean, think about this, right?
I think you could do better than that, though. You snap a picture of it.
Yeah.
You figure 24 inches of butt, for the seats. If there's 10 people standing underneath it, you can get a little more accurate than 100-meter range.
Yeah.
The snake was between 6 inches and 12 feet long. I couldn't tell. I wasn't sure.
Of course, I was highly inebriated when I take a look at it. So that happened in 2013, and it broke the previous record, also held by a stadium in, we'll call it a stadium, or the crowd in the stadium in Perth, Australia. So another Australian beer snake, 2007. So I started, think about it, right? Australia.
What was the previous record? Was it between 20 and 80? Like, how do you, like, it was just less than 100, and they knew that this was at least 100, so it broke the record? Is that how you determine?
Well, let me see. So now the reference is cited. So if we go a little deeper, we can go and we can take a look at on the News Corp Australia network on the 21st of January 2013 as we're clicking.
Was it reported by the Guinness Book of World Records or just Guinness?
Oh shit.
Cha-ching.
I mean, it would be really cool to see something like that, but I don't know if I'd want to be the one standing underneath the middle of it where all the the leftover beer that somebody didn't drink is spilling out of the cup as it goes over your head.
Well, that's one of the reasons the Cubs have chosen to outlaw the beer snakes, was that very reason.
No, it's just maddening as fun police.
But you're in the stands, in the outfield stands, or away from the I don't know, from cricket. Fuck, I don't know where the cheap seats are.
Where do the people go?
The wickets are actually in the middle of the field, so everyone has a bad seat, I guess. I don't know. But if we take a look at it, the way the record-setting snake was measured in 2013 was there's a picture, and that evidence of the snake is underneath the sign that we know is 100 meters long. So this is how technical we're at now. So photo evidence of a long sign. Now, the difference between Australians and their relationship with drinking and alcohol and Chicagoans, or the Cubs specifically, and drinking, is that once this beer snake was I don't want to say accurately measured, but once it was measured, they actually put up on the scoreboard that they have now broken the cup snake world record that was previously registered at the WACA in 2007. I don't know what WACA stands for. The World Association of Cricket Association? I don't know.
Don't have any idea. I mean, how do you start that? You just hand your empty cup to your neighbor and he puts his in, and
well, I was at the
you just hand it on down.
I was at the Sox
how
game
does that work?
The other a couple weeks ago, right, when I was out there in Fenway, and I actually saw something I hadn't seen before. And I don't go to a lot of baseball games. I'd prefer to just sit on my fat ass with my high definition television and watch any game I wanted. But they actually did a wave that went both directions, which was pretty cool. I thought that took a lot of coordination of 30,000 plus fans.
Shit.
Where it started in dead center, went all the way around, and made it past home plate, and then came back around. So
oh, really? That is kind of
I
impressive.
thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
As a fan at a game, I think there's nothing more annoying than a wave. I can't stand it.
I liked it.
You people sit down. I can't see.
I'm trying to watch a game here. I'm not obligated to stand up at a specific time. Do something on the field, and I'll stand up and cheer for you.
Your beer cups are dripping on my head.
That would be annoying as shit.
But think about this. I mean, this gives me faith in humanity, right? Because for you to actually construct a beer snake, you're under constant harassment from security, right? You've got to figure out and engineer, how do we get this past the aisles without being seen, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of coordination that needs to go on. You've got a number of people that, have to understand what's going on. I think if any one of the three of us came across a beer snake, say we're sitting at a cricket match in Australia and said, oh, what the fuck is going on here, mate? Right? Like, what we wouldn't know, right? So you'd have to know that.
Right.
Then you'd have to get in, or maybe you'd have to learn quickly. Then you'd have to get into it, right? And then you've got to start being deceptive, right? Because now the man's coming down to break up our expensive beer container toy here that we're building, right? I think that's pretty cool. I think that talks about, in the wave, same thing, right? So it's just, it might be frivolous and
but think about how many cups it takes to make a chain of cups that's 100 meters long.
Yeah.
I mean, how many cups? Seriously, if the cup itself is say 6, 7, 8 inches,
right?
Yeah, you get about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah.
You stack those solo cups up. Takes probably 3 of them to get to a half an inch, plus the length of the cup.
Have the little lip, no, right? So you got a little like half-inch lip most of the time on those cups.
Not that much.
I would say, yeah, that would be my guess, is you get about a half an inch or so per cup.
Right. Some Foster's beer distributor down in Australia, right? He's in the Beer Distributors Hall of Fame right now. They have a fucking plaque, maybe even a statue of him pointing at a beer snake. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this guy, and he's at all the barbecues, he's talking about, how he got that Cadillac. That's specifically what he did.
Do you suppose that the players on the field notice things like that when they're standing out there? Do they stop and kind of look over their shoulder when they're in the on deck circle and go, what the hell is that?
I don't know. Because I've never played in front of a crowd more than a bunch of parents at a high school football game. But I was always aware of what was going on in the stands when I wasn't actively in play.
I mean, you're at a cricket match and you're waiting for the guy to throw you the ball, and all of a sudden out of the corner of your eye you see this long giant tube going through the stands. Surely you're going to take a look the first time you see it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's and it looks very strange. I've watched a lot. I've watched way more video than you might think of about a bunch of people putting a bunch of cups together at sporting events. And everybody involved is super happy. I know it's probably because they're super drunk. And so there we have it. So between 100 and 175 meters long is the record to break world.
Amazing.
Yes. So I think last week we talked about some young players. We talked about one of my young players who got an unfortunate nickname that quickly needed to be explained and corrected. And actually, when Yordan Alvarez, right on, actually hit 2 home runs in a game the other night, I paid very close attention to the announcer, and there was no mention of Roy Don. So, unfortunately, the history of the game of baseball, yes, that didn't work. And don't know if he got in trouble or he just was a little ashamed and embarrassed, but he stopped that. However, Greg did mention something about Vladito's weight and worry about him becoming more like the panda. Right,
Pablo.
Greg, again, we talk about karma. He led us to believe he would be here, that he was committed to Balked Nation, even if he was going to be in Vegas. And so I was doing my research for the podcast last night, and I saw that Vladito left the game due to a left knee injury.
Ooh.
So you're claiming this is Greg's fault?
It is.
Ooh. Oh no!
Damn, Greg, you screwed the pooch on that one.
Removed from the game.
That's what happens when you try and bring a cup snake on a plane.
He did not have a noticeable. I watched this very close. I rewound the video several times to watch. It didn't look like he was walking with much of a limp until he got to the stairs, paused, grabbed the railing, and then started to walk down the stairs gingerly. So hopefully Vladito's okay. I love that guy. Yeah. So
but it's definitely Greg's fault.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can buy that. Do you think he even brought his microphone to Vegas?
I don't know.
Probably so he could show girls. He probably lays it out on the bed and stuff. So when he brings them up to his room, he's like, "Oh, let me move that. That's my microphone. You may have heard of me." I can just picture him right now, like he's sitting like at the craps table, like hair all disheveled and. His third button like undone, but the first 2 were done on his shirt. And, the tail's pulled out, and he hasn't slept in like 3 days. It's like I just, a la Nick Cage. I just got to get it back. I just got to get it back. Or maybe he's sleeping peacefully. I don't know.
Or he's in jail or in the tunnels.
He's anywhere but here, guys, right? That's the whole point, right?
Yep.
He has one place that he needs to be on Sunday mornings. He's not here. So all of this other shit that he
in that case, we get to decide, right? So I think that he is in the desert in a teepee doing peyote with a transvestite.
Okay, that was oddly specific.
J-Lo, where do you think he is?
I'm going with the theory that he went out back to take a piss behind the casino and got dragged into the tunnels by a homeless person. Now they're just using him in every way imaginable.
Oh my!
I think he's looking at silverware in IKEA.
Ding, ding,
that's
ding.
a much happier one.
I think that's where he's at. So any celebration stories for the Sharks? Last night. Anything that you can share that won't get you fired?
Probably not much. I should share. No, we we had a good time. There's nobody got arrested.
Okay, so we've established that. Okay,
that was good. Okay. That was a good start, right?
Very low bar.
There were a lot of folks there that wanted to celebrate and after the game. So I spent quite a bit of time on the field. Xander came down, got to talk to Xander for a little bit. Told him that
former guest,
that the Balker crew was paying attention more so because he was involved than me. But
did he say who?
No,
what?
No, absolutely no. No. I don't know that he's a regular listener, but no, he knows exactly who you guys are. I don't have any GK type stories that I can share.
Hey, at least you woke up this morning and came on the podcast. I was watching the at the end, just kind of, they would show various groups of people, and I was looking to see if I could see you. And there's kids running around like they do at arena games and throwing a football and having a good time. And I always just wonder how that stuff breaks up and ends. Do they, the coach gives his little speech and everybody cheers, and the people, there's, half the arena's emptied out, but there's still people sitting there and enjoying the celebration. And then it becomes, do they just leave one by one, or does everybody go, oh, that's a wrap, let's get the fuck out of here?
It does. So
get your kids out of the end zone.
With our games, one of the cool aspects of our games is after the game, we let the players go back to the locker room and cool off for about 5-10 minutes. And then we open up the field, and we bring all the fans that they're allowed to come down on the field. And then we have the players and the dancers come back out onto the field and interact and take pictures and sign autographs and so on and so forth. So it's really cool, especially obviously for the kids. They get to take pictures and get autographs from their heroes. So that's the normal process of our game.
I just picture that one custodian in the back room just tapping his foot. He's got the keys. He's ready to lock up. He's got his finger on the light switch. He's just, get out of here, people.
That guy does exist, and normally, his name's Tim. Normally,
we need to get him on the podcast to ask him these questions.
Yeah. He's kind of a douchebag now. He was cool at first, but after a couple of seasons of us, he's become a douchebag. But usually he stays out of my way.
Jack's going to be walking down the hall of next season at some point, and the lights are going to go out, and he's going to trip over that mop handle.
Yeah, probably. Right. He normally he does stay out of the way, even though I see him like leering in the corners and stuff. But he stayed this game. He's like on the field. Hey, one of your players brought a bottle of champagne onto the field. He better not open that here. I was like, well, why don't you go tell him that? Because I'm not like I'm like, right. Dude, just back up. The confetti goes off, and I look for him specifically so I could see his face. He's all grumpy and mad, and everybody else is happy and celebrating. This guy's like, oh, fuck it, I got to clean this shit up too. Now they're spraying champagne all over it.
Champagne and confetti.
The other thing with this game, like I said, we were down by 11 with a minute to go. A lot of fucking people left. A lot of people got up and walked out with a minute to go. Sharks fans with the idea that we had lost. And, those fucking people, like, I can't imagine, going through all the trouble and going to the game, sitting through the entire fucking game, and then leaving with a minute left to find out that you missed the final the last second touchdown. So.
Well, today they were all there, right? Like,
yeah.
No
They're
one
stealing pictures on Facebook of the final score on the Jumbotron. Right. Look, like that's not where your seats were.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a good time. I think I mentioned last week also, that there was that fight at the end of the game. I kind of made a joke about, wanting to break it down right away. Well, in all seriousness, there were, a few altercations. There was actually an arrest in that fight. At the arena of a fan, actually. So one of our players did get ejected, or it was the end of the game, so he didn't get ejected. He got suspended for this game. So he got suspended from the championship. This poor guy's been playing football for 20-something years. It was his first championship game. There were more people there with cheering him, rooting for free Cody Saul, trying to get this guy into the game, than rooting for the Sharks. So that was kind of a cool moment as well. At the end, they when the trophy came out, the team actually all picked him up and handed him the trophy for it. Like I said, I don't think you could have wrote this fucking thing much better. It was a storybook day for us.
Well, I was going to say, unless you're from Carolina.
Yeah. I guess they weren't happy, but I didn't really pay attention to them.
Yeah, they won it last year, though, didn't they?
They did.
So fuck them.
Well, anyway, Swag, super happy that you were able to wear that championship hat. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
We should say award-winning member of the Jacksonville Sharks. Congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
What was the title of the award you won?
It was, again, it's a group effort. We have quite a few interns and staff members and such.
But you're in charge of these people.
It was.
Right.
It was.
Shit doesn't go right. Who takes the?
I was going to say, who gets
Oh,
fired?
for sure, absolutely me. Yeah. It best game operation. So essentially,
Okay.
we won quite a few awards as an organization, but yeah, basically we put on the
Well, that's the most important one.
the best show. Yeah. As far as start to finish. So yeah, it's pretty.
So this
cool.
wasn't-
It's been a good season.
This was the NAL awards. This was not.
Oh,
This
correct.
was not.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
This isn't Bob in accounting gets an award from the team president.
No. Yeah.
Hey, don't
This was
fuck with Bob.
No,
Those books are
the
tight,
league
man.
awards.
Bob works his ass off.
Matt, the evil janitor.
No, he said it was Tim. That's what.
Oh, Tim, the evil
Is his name
janitor.
really
Yeah.
Tim?
It really is.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I hope
not
he doesn't
scared of
listen to
that
the
son of a bitch.
podcast. He's really going to fuck with you.
I am not scared of that motherfucker.
Well, given to the fact that GK's not here, I think it'd be appropriate if we took one of his stories from last season and put it in for the third segment. And Balked Nation, if you haven't heard this story, we call it affectionately Tina Marie, the Tina Marie story. You'll want to hang around and listen to this, yes. Slash IKEA, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think even HR Courtney made fun of it at the Balky Awards show last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, we all know what a saint she is.
So we're gonna come back, come back into the next segment and check out a greatest hit from last year. It's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next week, and we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll all be back together again, and without distraction.
They let Greg out of the tunnels.
Well, listen, have yourselves a great night. Jack, have a great nap.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Like I said, I the energy wasn't necessarily there today, but I
You
did my
suppose
best.
IKEA makes a cup snake? You still have to put it together.
All right, boys. Well, we'll see you later. Have a great rest of the day. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
Be good, fellas.
All right, take care, guys.
Like I remember you do, 'cause that's impossible, that's him. That's impossible, that's impossible. That's impossible, that's impossible. 'Cause you're in New York, but I'm not. You're in Tokyo, but I'm not. You're in Nova Scotia, but I'm not. Yeah, you're everywhere, but I'm not. Yeah, you're everywhere, but I'm not.
Well, welcome back, Balked Nation. And I think you may have heard on the introduction, if you're listening closely, Greg had mentioned something happened this weekend, and he was a little coy about that. And I'm going to try to ask you again, Greg. I do know you traveled this weekend. I did see some things come up on your Instagram feed. I don't know any specifics, and I certainly don't want to dig in anything that's painful for you, but come on, man. Like, what the fuck happened this weekend?
Since when do you want to dig into things that are painful to me? Okay, so yeah, I went on a little, against my own best judgment, I allowed an old friend of mine to fix me up on a semi-blind date. Just a week ago Saturday, a friend of mine messaged me and said, "Hey, I've been thinking about hooking you up with a friend of mine at work. I think you guys would really hit it off. Can I give her your phone number? I've told her about you." And, being the desperate person that I am, I said, sure.
Oh,
For my
jeez.
phone number. And so we started texting and we had a telephone conversation that night. On the surface, there was enough in common there where I thought, yeah, this is a cool chick, but doesn't live in my state. So that's probably going to be a tough thing. But over the course of a couple of days, I somehow found myself deciding that I would go and take this girl out to dinner in this other state. As soon as I made that commitment, being the Ghost King, I began to regret it and rethink this whole decision. But, and I blew through a number of red flags. Some of the warning signs, like, of course, we exchanged photos and attractive girl. That's
Right.
I'm not here to do a hatchet job on this girl, but I am who I am. And so, of course, being me, I stalked her Facebook a little bit, and embedded in her cover page, whatever, was a Bible verse, which nothing wrong with the Bible, I suppose, but it's just not me. But I said, you know what? It's the South, it's the Bible Belt, so that's probably pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I make this trek, and she recommends that I stay at this recently reopened historic hotel in this other city.
Mm-hmm.
I get there and it's cool. I check in and I'm feeling nervous. Like I wasn't feeling well Saturday morning, and I thought maybe I should just cancel, but I didn't want to be a jerk. And I thought, well, this would look bad to my friend.
You don't want to ghost them before you actually meet them.
No, I do. I did want to ghost her before I met her, but I saw it through. But as I was driving down there, you have a lot of time to think, and it was a several-hour drive. This wasn't just a hop, skip, and a jump. I'm thinking to myself, what's the best-case scenario here? I really like this girl, and then I'm thrust into a medium-distance relationship all of a sudden. So I was really questioning the wisdom of my decision. I immediately had a bad feeling about this hotel. Roll up valet parking, and they're like questioning, like, what's your business here? And it's a hotel. I said, I'm staying here tonight. They're like, oh, okay, you can go in. Like, for a new business, they seemed awfully reluctant for people to actually come in. Because the whole time, 3 or 4 times I walked in and out of that place, they're like, whoa, where are you going? I'm like, I'm staying here. They're like, oh, okay, come on in. And I was like, what is this fucking place? So anyway, I check in. Very cool hotel, although the air conditioning, it never got really cold in my room. And you guys know I'm not built for heat. But anyway, so I get dressed. My date arrives and texts me that she's in the lobby. I go down, I walk into the lobby, and there she is. I was wearing like dark jeans, a button-down shirt untucked with a kind of a casual sport jacket on and some cool shoes. That sounds pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
This girl was dressed like, you guys remember Tina Marie? Like a funk guitar singer. She had the one hit Lover Girl.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I just wanna be your
Okay, yeah.
Lover girl. Yep.
Please don't sing again, ever again.
I know. But basically, it was like something that would have been like funk outfit from the 80s. My first thought was, whoa, wait, am I supposed to dress? Is this a costume thing? Like, is that the reason I'm staying at this like hotel with flamingos and gliders and shit like that? But I blew past that. I blew past that red flag, and I said to myself, you know what? I just need to get some drinks in me. That'll clarify my thought.
It makes everything a little clearer. Yeah.
So we have some drinks there at the hotel on the rooftop, which was cool. And then we're off to dinner, and I'm having drinks, and I just really began to regret the whole situation. And I really began to question to myself why my friend even brought this situation up. And I thought, did I do something to this guy 15 years? 10 years ago? Did I owe this guy money? Did I hurt this person in some way, that this is some sort of retribution? And I started thinking to myself, oh boy, there's been innuendo and talk about her staying in my hotel room tonight.
Now, you've had some drinks with this woman. Is she fetching? Is she attractive? Let's forget the personality match. I mean, is this something that you're angling for, or I can't tell?
She's a nice girl, so she's not unattractive.
Okay.
I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling the connection.
You're not thinking long term. This isn't gonna. So the whole I'm driving down here. What if I fall in love? That's gone.
Oh, that's gone.
So now it's just, is there a sexual kind of?
Yeah, and I'm not one of those like one night stand kind of guys. In the fact that she works with a friend of mine, and she seems like a genuinely nice girl. And worst of all, I'm getting the sense that she likes me. Like she's into me a little bit. So I pumped the brakes right about the time we're finishing our appetizers. The waiter comes back by and was like, "Would you like another drink, sir?" And normally, my normal cadence of drinks for any future dates out there on a Saturday night, here's my normal cadence. So I drank 2 Beefeater martinis, up and dirty. And then, generally speaking, I date drinkers. And so then we'll split. We usually split 2 bottles of wine. So,
safer that way.
Yeah. And then I have a nightcap of an Irish coffee, a shot of Jameson with coffee. But, under normal circumstances, that waiter asked me the question about, do I want another drink? I'm like, yeah, for sure. I need my second martini. But then I started thinking to myself, no, this isn't going well, and I need to start trying to send a signal that things aren't going well. And so I was like, no, I think I'm good, actually. I'm going to wait. And so I'm drinking water. It has the desired effect where then she becomes self-conscious and doesn't order an additional drink. so I'm having this internal dialogue this whole time, like, oh God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because she drove a little distance to meet up with me for dinner. I'm thinking, you know what, am I going to have to put this girl on an Uber? Am I going to have to then pick her up the next day to come retrieve her fucking car? Am I going to have to, sleep on the ground like, Jason Bourne in the hotel room? No good option. And in my mind, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to be honest with her. We're going to have a nice dinner. She's a lovely gal and a fun personality, but just not a match for me. But I'm going to be honest with her. And after dinner, we're going to walk outside, and I'm going to be like, you know what? You're awesome, but I got to be honest. I'm feeling more of a friend vibe. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to call it a night. That's my plan. What do you guys think of that?
That was very gentlemanly.
No, that was my plan. I'm not saying that's what I did.
Oh, that would have been very gentlemanly.
That does not sound like the Ghost King, no.
Well, that's right. It's not because that I was hatching that plan having had 2 drinks.
As I was crawling out the bathroom window.
You're not far off, Jeff. You're not far off. So, but then I stopped drinking, and I got some food in me, and then I wasn't drunk, but I guess I had a little buzz because I really sobered up, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to have that conversation with any girl ever. So then my wheels started turning again. I was like, what should I do? What should I do? We walked outside. I just need to start planting my seed now for, not that kind, for later. And I was like, you know what? I think something I ate has my stomach upset.
Oh, okay.
That's good, right?
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, and she was
Your
like, well,
stomach's not upset.
Exactly. She was like, well, that's okay. Let's go back to the hotel. We can just hang out at the hotel. So we hop in an Uber back to the hotel. And now this particular hotel also has an even more historic lounge. In planning this date, this girl had sent me a clip where, Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, was hanging out at this particular lounge, and it's a very hip and historic place. I was actually excited about it till this date started. And so we get back to the hotel, and she was like, well, you know what? I've never actually been to this lounge. Can we go check it out? And I'm like, you know what? I'm still not quite sure how I'm getting out of this, so sure. That's better than the alternative of going up to my room and her nursing me. So we go into this lounge, and lo and behold, it's a strip club.
Whoa.
But it's a strip club full of hipster patrons.
You're kind of hipster.
But normally, I'm the only hipster in most strip clubs.
Does she know it's a strip club?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Oh,
there's
dude.
a lot of like soccer moms and soccer dads there in this strip club, and I was like, oh, this is a weird fucking scene.
What? Whoa. I, too, have been to a few strip clubs. I've never been in a place that's full of hipsters, soccer moms, and soccer dads.
Right.
And I'm really starting to think, like, this is in the hotel you're in.
You had to like walk out the front door of the hotel and kind of go around the back of the building, and there it was.
In your room, was there a slot for a quarter to put in next to the bed and make it vibrate?
Nope. That would have been...
Now all the questions at the beginning of the story that as he tried to get into the hotel are starting to make more sense.
What did you immediately think of Tina the moment you crossed that threshold and you realized, strange club as it is, that it was
titties?
A soft porn sex club.
Oh, listen, guys. I mean, how awkward is a blind date to begin with?
Not too awkward for Tina. She's ready to just party, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, she might have been having a good time. I don't know. But I mean, think about it. You guys know me. I'm an awkward fucking person. So it's a blind date that I'm not enjoying with somebody I don't feel connected to, that I'm worried is expecting to spend the night in my hotel room, and now all of a sudden we're in a fucking strip club together.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it ramped up the awkwardness quite a bit for me. So much so that I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna have a double Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, yeah, there we're talking.
All right.
Having a hard time finding this issue.
So
here.
we sit down, on like a velvet couch, and we're drinking our drinks, and the girls are dancing around.
What are you talking about?
That was the saving grace. There was very little talking at that point because it was loud in there. It was
They're kind
crowded.
of set up. Yeah, they're kind of set up for non-talking. The conversation isn't really a high point in the old strip clubs there.
She would whisper, or like she would not whisper. She would speak into my ear like, "Isn't this fun?" She had a southern accent. I was like, "Yeah, this is cool. Wow, this is a really cool place." And she would try to tell me the history of it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. But the girls are dancing around and so forth. And so we're there, we finish our drinks, get another drink. And I'm like, man, what am I going to do here? This is a real pickle for me. But I am like in full-blown panic mode at this point, guys. Then she was like, maybe you should get me a lap dance. And I was like, oh, you want a lap dance? And she was like, yeah, I think I would. And I was like, okay.
So at this point, you realized your friend from college was actually doing you a solid, even though it's not playing out that way.
Right. And if you don't think so, then please next time call me.
I hand her some money to go get a lap dance, and I'm just sitting.
It's going to be a double ghost, guys.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there, like, and it's hot in there. It's fucking hot as fuck in there. I don't know what to do. I really am at a loss.
This is not, as I stepped out my hotel room door, this is not where I thought I would be 3.5 hours later.
So I got up and I left.
Did you pay for your drink?
Oh, yeah, I'd already paid for it.
Good,
yeah.
good.
Then I walked around the front of the building, and I walked to the front door of the hotel, and I was getting stopped, like, what do you want? And I'm like, I'm going into the I'm staying here. He's like, okay, you can go in. I was like, all right, thanks.
Does anyone else see Greg from the club to the hotel room door?
It's quite a scene in this place. I mean, the parking lot is packed with people in and out. Clearly, this place is just reopened, and it's quite a scene. And as soon as I get in my room, I text her. And I said, hey, I'm sorry. I really started not feeling well.
Boo.
and
his bark.
I really started not feeling well. So I had to go up to my room. I really am sorry. And I get a text like, oh, hey, are you okay? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just not feeling well. I needed to lie down.
Well, Chastity, and Brandy are on our way up, so...
And I think that she got the hint. I'm pretty sure, because she didn't text anything further, and even all day today I didn't hear anything. So I mean, I know that makes me a terrible person. I really did try to evolve past ghosting, guys. I've just embraced it. I'm a ghoster. That's who I am.
You know, the thing is, I haven't been single for over 20 years. I have no idea what it's like out there. I don't know. I just would have thought, she's a freak. You go with it, boom, and then you're, I mean, you have like the perfect. We're like 8 hours away or 5 hours away, right?
I have been single multiple times in the past 20 years. So,
man.
And this is where me and Greg are really going to disconnect, I think. Maybe the relationship with the friend would have held back that scenario that Tim keeps playing in his head, because I'm seeing the same. I'm seeing the same exact situation. If I'm going to ghost anyway, and she's already there and drunk in a strip club, well, what's another...
You know what, Greg? You did the right thing. You got to trust your gut, because she probably had a series of steak knives she was going to use on you in her purse.
She was a nice girl. I mean, you're going to laugh when you hear me say this, but I don't ghost girls because I'm cold-hearted. I ghost girls because I'm nice but cowardly. You know what I mean? But I couldn't stand the thought of, like, this morning having to lie and say, oh yeah, I had a great time, maybe next weekend you can drive up to where I live. I cannot engage in that kind of bullshit conversation. It makes my skin crawl.
That's cool.
It really makes me uncomfortable. And so I was just like, man, I need to get out of this situation. And so I my old instincts kicked in.
To me, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, when she walks me into a strip club, then all that other stuff goes away. Like at that point, I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, well, I don't have to worry about tomorrow morning with this chick. She just brought me to a strip club on our first date. Like,
yeah, I mean, there was a lot of factors. It was a multi-layered decision. Like, had she not been dressed like Tina Marie, I mean, she was an attractive girl.
That was the kicker.
Part of the way I talked myself into this whole trip was I wanted to go to IKEA this morning, because I had this IKEA gift card that's been I've been carrying around for like 6 months.
Hold on. You're my friend.
I was trash talking you from IKEA.
All right. This is one podcast where you have injured yourself reaching for non-meat sausage, admittedly left a freak at a strip club to go home, and now you're telling us that your real goal was to hit a fucking IKEA.
Well, it wasn't my total goal, but I was trying to make maximum use of my time, and I had this. You have to understand that I had this IKEA store credit that there's no real IKEA near me, and I was like, well, I'm going to have guests later this month, and I really could use some extra furniture, and I have this IKEA gift card or store credit. So if I'm going to go down there to take this girl out to dinner, I could get up early the next morning and hit IKEA and then head on home. So those were all those things were swirling through my head. But the thing I'm happiest about is that this girl hasn't texted me further. I actually thought about blocking her number just because I couldn't bear to see what she texted me. Like, what the fuck happened to you, dude? But to her credit, she took the ghosting well. And that's a sign of a real good person, in my opinion.
All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, have yourselves a good evening. And as always, it was wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
and we'll talk to you
Have a good night.
Sharing.
next week, same time,
Care,
same
fellas.
place. Greg, thank you for being so courageous. Cool. All right, bye-bye. Keep thinking about what's Greg doing right now because I don't think he's sleeping, and I wonder
probably drinking a gin and tonic.
Well, is there an IKEA in Vegas?
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah.